Everything I give. Hi, y'all. I had to bully myself into coming to work today. Yo, okay, so Aries season ends. And yes, I do have to look this up because, like, who can really keep all these dates in their head? Aries season, and I think at this point, before I type it in, I think it's been like around the 19th. It does. It ends on April 19th. Okay, so it is the second. I am like 1 week, maybe 2 weeks into my masculine energy research. And I did not expect this. So, masculine energy rules the root chakra, your base. It is the first pyramid piece to your human masterpiece, right? That is supposedly, I think supposedly is a word, reflected in the relationships that you have with other people who are masculine dominant. So I was doing this little researchy thing where I was going to sit through male movies, and I didn't say I was going to read no male books. Even the thought of it, hold on, is it bad that I even thought that? Y'all, I have discovered some things about myself and my thoughts during this process, which is really what got your girl down during today's video. So, I was watching male interviews, trying to see things from a different perspective, but that only forced me to dive into my own reaction to masculine energy. And it wasn't that positive. I'm like, so baby girl, when did who hurt you? A lot of them know, but I didn't realize I was carrying resentment. Imagine like trying to watch an interview and be like completely like enthralled, but the whole time you're thinking like, oh my God, idiot. Like I have a problem with mansplaining. I think other dudes have a problem with mansplaining too, but they don't like acknowledge that they do it to each other. It's like advice for them and they don't have any feelings about it because it's like their feelings aren't included. But females are like all feelings. So it's like this of all the research projects I have done on this channel over the last couple of years is really like blowing me. So let me show you guys a chart. I was starting with my gospel music. Like, okay, clearly digging into my root chakra has brought up some stuff that I did not expect was going to slow me down. But whenever you poke a scar or remove a band-aid or something, there's always going to be a couple of days of, guess what I can call jet lag, if you will. And I'm still like in jet lag. Yesterday I did some really accidental mother wound work, but I didn't know that my mother wound was in my root. How did I figure it out? That's the basis of today's lesson because I think I have something cool that I can teach everybody that will help them understand their own wounding more. So I am going to get a blank version of this because I keep looking at the Hellenistic astrology thing and I understand the houses and the cycles and stuff, right? But something feels off to me and I gave myself permission. I had to talk myself through like, yeah, you can take a blank one and make your own version of the chart if you think that there is something that can be discovered from this, because Hellenistic is old astrology. There is modern astrology. Maybe you're figuring out something else that brings them all together. We talk ourselves out of stuff so much, right? But in astrology, the 12th house is represented by the 0th, 12th, and 24th degree. The first house is represented by the 1st, 13th, and 25th degree. The second house represented by the 2nd, 14th, and 26th. Here they have them labeled like this, but that doesn't line up energetically for how we are the humans that we can see in front of us. We're all light fractals, but the light is pulled or reflected in all sorts of different ways so that we are like diamond humans, but we can't tell that because it's a hallucination of some sort because consciousness. One day I'm going to be able to explain that like But right now, my mind is still blown. So your heart, right, is represented by wherever your Leo energy is. That's usually your fifth house as the basis. Did you discover what you love around 5? Something to think about, because all these houses line up with a specific theme, and a certain part of yourself is developed during that time, which means the fifth house, your Leo energy, your creativity, your inner child was developed around 5. The time that you started differentiating yourself from being in learning mode to creative mode is what I'm getting, right? So wherever that is in your chart, that gets triggered at a certain time too. So I was looking into higher heart healing. As I told you in the last video, everybody's higher heart needs to be healed so we don't descend into darkness and become a part of the anti-life, or what they call that dude? Antichrist hive, which is just a bunch of depressed, evil people making the world worse over better. But done in a large number, it'll really make a difference, as we are currently seeing. So I was looking into the higher heart healing, just, crossing my T's, dotting my I's, and I came across mother wound stuff. Because, guys, all you have to do is ask a question, and once your spiritual awakening begins, and then you'll start seeing little clues for the answers. And as long as you continue to walk through the doors, you'll keep getting answers. So the mother wound thing that I started sharing with you guys, that was sprung on me when I started looking into the higher heart. I even had some of the readers that I usually follow suddenly start doing videos on higher heart stuff. So I was really excited about that until I started like digging through the mother wound, because I thought I was cool. I talk to my mom every week. It's by text. And she lives 10 minutes away, but I don't ever see her. I actually haven't seen her in months, and all that stuff I didn't think about either. So when I came to my chart, I wanted to see what was in my root. What's in your root is in your first house, right? So if you look at a regular chart, I think I have somebody's chart up here. Whose chart is this? I'll just randomize it. So, all right, there, Cat Williams in there. I got everybody in there when I be on my little missions, right? So, all right, your first house, where your first year was spent, right? So I had Leo here in the first house. All my mom's planets are there in my first house. Keep in mind, the first house is the year doing your root chakra, like all your foundational stuff. Most of the sad planets that one has in their chart are in my first house. And that really, like, I guess I didn't put 2 and 2 together, because some people don't feel this way about it, but I can't stand hearing babies cry, but not in a way like, oh, babies crying, but like it gives me anxiety. It freaks me out. Like, somebody grab that baby, somebody help that baby. But I never, of course, because you can't remember one, would have connected it to, I was neglected during my first year of life, something I never would have known, but that caused a deep-rooted wound. This whole time I'm here going through layers and layers of shadow work, like, okay, something still feels off. My anxiety is still like, something is still bothering me. There's still this feeling in my chest and I can't get to it. But what I'm learning, because I started applying this information to my sessions, is a lot of the wounds that continue to haunt us, that continue to bring back like seasonal depressions and waves of like sadness or anger out of nowhere, are because they happen during these beginning years. This chart sets your life during 12-year cycle, right? 0 to 12, like in utero would be 0. Then like while you were hanging out in there, because stuff happens to your mom during pregnancy. And if you have planets in the 12th house, it's about what happened while your mama was pregnant with you, and then how it affected your development in there, right? But it goes around those 12 years, and that sets the foundation, the board, the first ring of your cycles. Every time it goes around, every 12 years, you were tested on the same lessons that got sort of planted in that first 12 years, which is like, right? To figure all that out, or to know that we really are like in a strange board game of sorts. So had to do the whole boo-hoo thing, because like that catches you off guard, like, oh my goodness, poor helpless me, right? But part of that stuck with me. That's part of my masculine energy, right? Because it's the first house. Oh, that's what I need to explain. The first house is Aries. It's the first the 13th and the 25th degree. It is your Mars. It does not matter where your Mars is. It is wherever the Aries energy is in your chart as well. So if you're somebody who has Chiron in Aries, that means your wound is in yourself, something physical, something about you. This is Cat Williams. I would guess it has to do with his size or his height or something like that, which is okay, whatever. Oh, it is. Because look, his Chiron is at the 12th degree, the same as his Mars, which is his personal power. See how all this stuff is like connected like a. And I think that's what all of this in here is, but I just read it differently. I know some astrologers look at it and they know like, this is a triangle, this is a mystical rectangle. Like, I didn't take the time to learn those things, but I did really get into the degrees. That's another thing, guys. Every part of astrology might not appeal to you. Just like, think if this was science or math, not every part of it is going to like apply to you or be something that you want to learn or dig into, which goes back to what I was saying. Sometimes you are taking a concept and you are evolving it based upon what you learn. That is also your Aries energy, the energy of the pioneer, somebody who's doing something that has not been done before or improving things in a way that helps other people. That's also connected sort of to your Aquarius stuff as well. So whatever planets you have in this first house in your chart represent what happened during that first year of your life. What is your deep rooted patterns? Because these aren't even beliefs. This has nothing to do with thought. This is your fight or flight, your fear, your sense of stability, how you feel in your body, if you feel secure, like all of that. So if you have Pluto here, I would feel like that could be a case that somebody dropped you. Because Pluto is a transformation of some sort. Or like there was something that was a birth defect, because this could be during birth too, because from the moment you exit, house one starts. But if you had Pluto on 12, that could have been something happened to you when you're in the womb. My youngest has Pluto in 12, now that I'm mentioning it. She came a month early. She did a lot when she was in the womb. Actually, she raised my blood pressure because she sat on one of my nerves. So there was a lot of poking and prodding that went on while she was in there. So, oh, look at that. I'll have to explain that to her one day when she's like, I don't like being in tight spaces. Like she has all little quirks and stuff like that. But it could come from what occurred then. That was a surprise example. I'm happy I was able to share with you guys. But say during the first year, because we live in a crazy planet now. Your mama had an abusive boyfriend who didn't know that he was abusive. Your first house could have a lot of stuff in it. It could have Chiron. It could have Pluto. It could have Mars. If you had Mars in the first, you started off fighting. Oh, that's my first alarm for the day. You started off strong, but you started off fighting. You could also see this in kids that had to go to like the NICU or something. I'm like, hold on, what other planet would be there? There was an issue, because I don't want anybody to look at their chart and be like, no, because there are lots of different ways, and you have to look at what sign the first house is and all that. But there is a math to all of this. So pick something else random. It'd be probably handy if I had somebody's stuff that I can actually like reference, I guess. I know nothing about that person's life. So I had the funniest moment earlier, right? When I was thinking about preparing myself for this video as I was getting it together. I was like, okay, so I went through a bunch of the guy videos and I had sort of a sarcastic, assholey type energy as I was watching them until I came across a Joe Rogan video with Terrence Howard. And he was talking and it's like my ears turned into Dumbo. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't even know what he's talking about, but he can teach me. Like, I love that. And in that moment, even though air is like neither feminine nor masculine, or is it? Is that something I'm missing here? Dun, 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 dun. If it's not, then I'm totally off base, but this is this is a learn with me video anyway. Are air signs, are air signs masculine? I don't even think that's the way there we go. I'll say masculine or feminine. Feel like drum roll. Fire and air masculine. My mind is blown. So it's the fire ones that give me hell. Okay. I'm getting somewhere. My dad's a Sag rising with a Sag moon. So I'm sorry. I'm up here having life revelations. Like, okay. So I went to his chart. I had to know, but it was his. Well, now y'all know he's in here. Guess he'll be the example. How do one spell his name? Oh, no, that's right. I just pulled his up on here. Everyone is not kept in my Rolodex. I did not even think about the fact that air was masculine, y'all. I'm over here bugging. I get it. So that means they're the logic. I love that. But that's what I figured out when I was watching. I was like, oh my gosh, I love a smart man. Talk to me. I don't even care what you're talking about. I don't care what it is, but if you know your shit, if you're really like in your zone and you're proud of that, that is amazing. I love that quality. I did not know that that logical thing was supposed to be innately masculine. Okay, well, that solves that because I was thinking as I was coming on here, I watched that and then I ended up coming across Benny Blanco's video that he did with Selena Gomez. And I was like, oh my gosh, that dude is Ron Jeremy. And I went and put their stuff together. That definitely is a different incarnation of Ron Jeremy, which was hilarious. But his Venus was in Aquarius. His values were in an air sign. So I've never dated anybody that I actually thought was hot in the first place. I actually have to get down and like talk to somebody for like weeks before I decide, okay, I have a crush on this person or something. It's never, oh my God, like that. But I have a lot of fire in my own chart. I am a fire sign. Maybe that's supposed to balance it out or something. But the general thing I'm getting right now, remember, I have not established a full thing. When I come to the end of Aries season, I will have a whole video when I'm able to go through and discuss the different types of masculine energy and stuff. But right now, in the midst of all of this, I am understanding there are scientists or wizards, and then there are warriors as like a main base for the masculine energy. Dang, Selena Gomez must really like a Pisces because I didn't realize they were both Pisces. Look, let me focus over here. Okay, so this is Terrence's, which is crazy because he has, oh, it's his Mercury that's in Aquarius. Either way, he was talking. I was listening to his thoughts, and your thoughts are your Mercury, right? Uh, he has all this Aries energy anyway. I guess that accounts for him explaining how he got arrested for domestic violence during that conversation. But okay, I was looking for what was the thing that was pinging in my chart. When you look at synastry with somebody, you put two charts together and you see how the energies mesh to cause different reactions. So going back to what I was saying about the mother wound thing, whatever house your mom's planets come into, that would be where your mother wound, if you have one, I don't think everybody does, would play out in your chart. So if your mom's a Gemini, this is Prince, if his mom had been a Gemini, then she would have been representative of his first relationship or his first traumas if it had been in the eighth house. So that means that going forward, anybody he dated, he would sort of look for the qualities that he saw in his mother if it was the seventh house. And in the eighth house, he would sort of disdain anybody who had those qualities that reminded him of his mother. But it would be brought up anytime he came around people who had this energy. And that for him would have been triggered for the first time around the time he was 7 or 8, something that he would never remember, but it changes the way that he interacted with women for the rest of his life. So he has a whole song about that. Didn't he think his mother was weak or something? It was Dove's crime. Maybe I'm just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Okay, whatever. Do what you will with that. So I came on here not knowing what I was doing, but I was just filling y'all in with my random thoughts in this Learn With Me video. so that I can get back in the flow of work. Because that mom wound totally messed me up. Like, I did not have the best relationship with my mother growing up, period. But it never occurred to me that stuff happened when I was younger than that. And surprisingly, uh, it actually made me dig a little deeper to get past the surface of woe is me, right? This came up once recently also. I was talking to my client about her parental wound. She don't really like me to go up in there. She don't want to discuss that. I was like, but how about next time I do your video? Can I do you one from your parents' perspective? And she said that was cool. I'm actually going to be doing that soon. But I didn't think to look at my parents' chart from that perspective too. Like, what did this human being go through before they got to me? That made none of this actually about me. I was just collateral damage. It wasn't even on purpose. And you can't be mad at anybody like that. But that is the goal of higher heart healing and unconditional love, for you to be able to look at something from outside yourself and see the person as an individual, not just what they did to you. Now, I need to learn to do that with boundaries, because there are other issues that I have because I don't just know how to cut stuff off. But it's like, I don't know how to cut it off rudely. How about that? And I guess that I should work on that next too, because your Mars is your GER. My Mars is in 12th. When your Mars is in 12th, that's the same as having it in Pisces. And I don't like to fight. I don't like to argue or any of that stuff. So whatever. I am in the throes of going through it, and I'm probably not the only one. And I really just need to say, because I've been having sessions lately where I'm like, y'all, I'm going through it too. I'm just able to tell y'all the instructions because God has blessed me with the gift of being able to help other people no matter what I am going through. But that does not mean I'm not going through it, or that I don't use the same exact techniques and tactics that I show you guys to survive my own stuff. So if you look at me all the time on here and you think I'm doing fine, no, I be going through it. But it's good that I look like I'm doing okay, because that means that regardless of whatever storm I'm in, I'm doing what God wants me to do, which allows me to even show up here in the first place. We are on a test planet. This is a test of your commitment to your relationship with what, right? What did you want to make of the time that God gave you here? That's what I just got. What do you want to do with yourself? What would you want to do with the human experience? That's what you came here to do. I had a whole moment earlier where I was like, but God, this free earth that you gave us, they charging us for. They charging us for the house. They charging us for the lights, like everything. And then I got this whole idea about like buying land and like living retro. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that actually just did something. I love the idea of having candles all the time and a fireplace and waking up and gardening every day instead of like traditional working. Like, I probably do videos and stuff. Oh, that's another assignment I have for you guys. I probably do videos and stuff, but it would just be showing y'all like, hey, here's my garden. Look what I made, like different stuff like that. Here's my painting. Might turn into Bob Ross and just talk to y'all while I'm painting and stuff. That's what I would do if I had a lot of land and a house. And every time I think about that, I'd be like, y'all, don't set me up for no fucking cult. I feel highly uncomfortable. Don't nobody ask to come live with me on my land. That always goes bad. I done looked a lot of these past life things, and it's not ever me. It's whatever dude I marry, and it just go left. Like, the people came for me, and somehow, anyways. So there's always an answer if you go through the door, if you ask the question. Even if you complain, God is going to give you an answer. So another thing I want to give you guys, just to close off with, because I'm all over the place. I need to lock in, right? Look at your sun sign and the degree next to it. Find a celebrity or somebody who has a bio that you can watch, read up on, that has something at that exact same sun sign, or you can even do your ascendant. I accidentally did that this week. I went to go look at a Meghan Markle thing that was on Netflix because I was so happy I finally paid for my Netflix. I had been neglecting it, and y'all know how much I miss Massimo. So I went on Netflix and I watched the Meghan thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, that would totally be me all the time. Like, literally, she's excited about making salt baths for her guests and hors d'oeuvres and playing with her bees and stuff. The next thing I watched was a Martha Stewart documentary. I went to go check their charts. Both of them are August 3rd and like August 5th or something. My birthday is August 1st. But all my Leo energy is right up in there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this category? What is this called? But it said homemaker. And I'm like, ew, that's not. But when I look at Martha Stewart, do I see homemaker? That's what she labels herself as, but that's an industry, that's a brand. And I thought that was really funny because when I first started this, and I was like, I guess I'm like metaphysical Martha Stewart because I'm going to be teaching people magic, but it needs to be practical. It needs to be something they can fit in their everyday life. And then suddenly everything just came back like full circle. Okay. If you keep walking through the doors, guys, you will get to an exit. You will get back around to the answer that you need or the road that you need to be on, because if it's what you're meant to do, you're meant to do it. And that's not going to change no matter how many times you go off the road, no matter how many times you stop, you pause, you take a break, you cry, whatever. Your purpose is your purpose. So I guess that's what I'll end up adding this. And it was just 11:11 because I didn't know where I was going, but it ended up in a nice place. And I know somebody needed this today. So have a good day, guys.